Alright, hello, my name is Cubsrule21. This is Yakuza Kiwami 2 for PC. We're going to be doing New Game Plus any difficulty today. So we're going to go to New Game Plus, we're going to start on a completed file, we're going to select easy difficulty, start the run in 3, 2, 1, go. So New Game Plus takes place on the completed game file. We carry over all non-story and non-sub-story progress from the completed file, so we have every upgrade, we carry over weapons, armor. We're extremely overpowered for this point in the game. We're skipping through some cutscenes with some backstory of, an event that's going to be touched on later. It took place 18 years before the start of the game. That's all. Just worry about that for now. Kiwami 2 is a remaster of the PS2 game, Yakuza 2, and it takes place about a year after the events of the first Yakuza game. So we start out, we're visiting the grave of Shintaro Kazuma, our adopted father, and we're attacked by the Omi Alliance in the graveyard. Who attacks people at a graveyard, man? Come on, seriously. So, it's nice that in New Game Plus, obviously you've done the tutorials before, so Dev decided, hey, you don't need to do them again, so we can just punch our way through and take out the enemies and move on. So while we were here, the fifth chairman of the Tojo clan, Yukio Terada, showed up, and the Omi Alliance shot and killed him. So that, along with some other minor skirmishes that have been taking place with the Omi Alliance in Kamurocho, decide that the Tojo clan wants to send Kiryu to Osaka to meet with the Omi Alliance and just quell all the tensions that have been coming up. Kiryu decides that he needs someone to go with him, so he's going to grab Daigo Dojima, the son of the former Dojima clan patriarch. So the former Dojima clan patriarch, and we want him to accompany us to Osaka. Now we've got another tutorial fight here. We're going to use a couple of the weapons that we brought over. We've got 3 weapons that we're going to be using for the course of the run. You just saw 2 of them there. You saw a fire magic katana that deals fire damage to everything it touches, including ourselves. There's a reason for that. We'll get into that in a moment. Just note, we want to in a controlled environment, lower HP as much as possible. You saw a gun there for ranged combat. It's a standard gun. It is the strongest gun in the game, but it doesn't do a whole lot of damage. And then we've got a lightsaber that is going to be our main weapon for most of the game. Now, all 3 of these weapons are infinite ammo weapons. They do not break, which is a nice little bonus from the first playthrough. So we don't ever have to worry about a weapon breakdown, so we'll be just using them the entire time in the game. Armor, we've also got 3 pieces of armor: the bloody chainmail, blood-soaked chainmail, bloody binding, and the payback ring. The 3 of them together give a bonus of 60 attack that raise our attack as high as possible. It's about 4 times as high as the attack that you start out with in a normal run. And then the third armor, the payback ring, also has a innate ability that the lower your HP, the more of an attack bonus it gives you. So that's why we want to lower HP as much as possible without dying, so that we get a maximum attack boost. So we found Daigo. He's being a little bit of a jerk. We've got to knock some sense into him. Couple of slashes. Fortunately, we're into the field of heat to end the fight. We just have to mash, fill up the heat bar, and then the special cutscene to end it. Knock a little sense into him. Tell him that we want him to go with us to Osaka. He's not interested in the slightest. But we bring up the name of Ryuji Goda, who apparently set up Daigo in the past, and he wants revenge. So, because of Ryuji, he's going to agree to go with us to meet with the Omi Alliance. So we're through Chapter 1. We're heading to Chapter 2, into Kansai, into Sotenbori. And of course, the first thing that happens when we get there it wouldn't be a Yakuza game without it. We have a couple of cutscenes to skip through. Most cutscenes we can skip, fortunately, as well as a lot of in-game text. But the first thing that happens to us is, of course, we get into a fight. Don't know what we did to this guy. Apparently we peacocked his mom, whatever that means. But very quickly we're through this fight, and we're just going to move on to exploring the city. We've been told that someone at the Cabaret Grand might be able to give us some more info on the Omi Alliance, just to have us better prepared for the meeting we're going to have tomorrow morning. So we're going to head over there. But when we get inside, we're going to be told that we're not allowed access into the VIP area, which is where we're trying to get. So, in that last cutscene, after that fight, we were introduced to someone by the name of Kurakawa, who told us, hey, enjoy your time in the city. If you need any help at all, let me know, and I will take care of things. So we're going to run back to him, and he's going to get us into the VIP section. Now, we can cutscene skip away his dialogue. We don't really care. There's also what we call text skipping. And for certain unskippable conversations, text skipping just allows us to mash through text boxes as quickly as possible. When that happens, you hold R1 and mash the X button, and that just clears text boxes as fast as it'll go. So Kurakawa's done his thing. He's got us access. He's got us on the list to get into the VIP section at the Grand. So we go over to this guy. Cutscene skip him away because we don't care. We meet Ryuji Goda. He doesn't know who we are. But his boys don't take a liking to us either, so we've got to take care of them. In the cutscenes that follow, because we just got to skip them quickly, turns out Ryuji has a pretty good idea of who we are, and he gives us a little bit of a veiled warning about something that's taken place in Kamurocho. So, we're trying to find any news that we can about what's going on back home. We're just going to follow everybody down the street, because there's a nice television that's going to just tell us what the hell has happened back in Kamurocho. If I could get rid of the rest of these, stop running into everything that moves, that would be great. She moved into me. And now we've reached the end of the street, and we find out that there's been an explosion in the Millennium Tower. Don't really know much about what's going on, just that there was an explosion, and it seems like the Omi Alliance was in some way involved. But we're here to try and make peace with the Omi Alliance, so we're going to see what we can do on that front at least. We meet with Daigo. Next morning, we tell him we're ready to go. Text skip away his dialogue. And we cutscene skip through a couple of cutscenes. In this second cutscene, we're introduced to a Osakan police detective by the name of Sayama Kaoru. She's going to become important to the story here fairly quickly. Just know that right now she's trying to place Kiryu under her protective custody, because she's trying to get closer to the Tojo clan, for reasons we are unaware of at the moment. But she's using this as an option, as someone from the Omi Alliance she tells us is trying to kill us, so she uses that as her in to get close to us. Now, we're ready to make peace with Chairman Goda of the Omi Alliance. However, his son, Ryuji, has decided, no, I'm not allowing this to happen because I want to take out the Tojo clan, and I want to take Kamurocho for myself. So he and his goons attack us and kidnap Chairman Goda. So we're just going to fight our way through. It's mildly annoying that they are not, usually they gang up. I don't know what is, that's never happened before that they don't gang up like that. I'm learning things today. So our HP is now fairly low. And while we are in the easy difficulty, we don't want it to get so low that we're going to be in danger of dying. So for the rest of this area, we're going to be using our lightsaber. Now we're going to run past these three, let everybody kind of group up here, take out everybody here, deal with the last couple stragglers, switch back to the sword. That was mildly annoying that they didn't come toward me. While we're doing this, the fastest way through two double doors is to walk right between the middle. If you open up one door to either side, it's just almost double the length of the cutscene. So you really want to try to avoid. Yeah, right there, we just went through the left door on accident, and that was a much longer opening cutscene. We don't care about the guys throwing knives at us. We only care about the guys in our way holding sofas, because they block our paths. And we're just trying to escape the Omi Alliance HQ right now so that we can go rescue Chairman Goda. We get stopped here, a small little fight. We just gotta take everybody out quickly. Easy, the enemies don't like to gang up on you like they do on harder difficulty levels, so we unfortunately have to chase them down a little bit. Went through the wrong door again. These two sword enemies, or knife enemies, we have to take out. Otherwise, it won't let us destroy this barrier behind them. Mildly annoying. But this one in front of us, we don't care about. We just have to take care of the couch guy. And we're through to one of the final fights of this chapter. Just have to quickly take these four out. And unfortunately, it wouldn't let me into the middle, unfortunately. They kind of forced me to go that way. Last couch guy. And we've finally made it back to the front of the Omi Alliance. The cutscene really wants to get your attention toward that chandelier. There is a special cutscene that will take out many of these enemies. However, it's incredibly slow, so we don't bother. We're just going to shoot everybody down here while trying to avoid the plants being kicked at us. We're going to walk outside. We've got a couple of guys guarding Chairman Goda. This is going to be our last set of enemies here. Shoot them, and we're through the escape sequence. But not quite done with the chapter. We've got small cutscenes, and now we've got an actual fight with Ryuji. This is the first fight we're going to have with Ryuji. Don't worry, there'll be more later. Just like Daigo earlier, we can use the fire sword to very quickly take him down. He's got an HP 8 here, a mid-fight QTE that we have to do. And now we have to hit him again to get him into his field of heat. Get through this, and that's the end of the chapter. And now, our HP is basically where we want it for most of the run. We could probably go a little less and just not be too in danger outside of a couple specific parts. But for the most part, we're just going to leave it right here. And we're going to start using the lightsaber for most fights. Skip that cutscene. We're at the end. That's the end of chapter 3. And so now we have to deal with the aftermath of the Omi Alliance, of escaping the Omi Alliance. We left Daigo and Chairman Goda behind, so they're both in the hands of the Goryu clan for Ryuji Goda. We were rescued by Kaoru. And for her trouble in getting us back to Osaka, Kaoru was shot in the stomach by a sniper. She tells us to go to the bar Aoi to go find the bartender Tamio, who has some medical experience and can take care of her. Tamio also raised Kaoru, so this is basically her second home, her safe space for when she has any kind of trouble. This fight spawn we don't care about, because as soon as we get close to the bar, what we call an area trigger takes over, and that forces us into a story-specific cutscene that would cancel out any fight that we were in if we were in a fight. So we can just run through that fight spawn and not worry about them. Other triggers require you to not be in a fight. This fight spawn, thankfully, is walking away from me, so we can just run past them because it won't trigger immediately. And we have to interact with the black car in front of us, so if we were in a fight, we would not be able to do that. So we can just talk to the car, and then we grab Kaoru, and we get her to safety. Notably, Kaoru's been bleeding out in the car this whole time. We didn't take her to the bar the first time for some reason. We just left her there to bleed. So now we've got to get her back to the bar. Every NPC we hit causes a little bit of blood loss. If we lose too much, we're going to have a second text box before we get to the bar. There's also a couple of NPCs that we're watching out for to dodge Because if we get too close to them, a conversation is going to trigger that we have to text skip through, and they are not short conversations. So we swing around the one there. We should be good to make it to the bar before the second text box, so we can just skip the cutscene and move on. So Tamio's getting to work trying to take care of Kaoru. Meanwhile, we're just told we just kill time to wait for Tamio to finish. Tamio's going to eventually call us and tell us, hey, she's out of bandages. Can we stop and pick up some more for her so that she can finish with Kaoru? But in order to get that phone call, we have to wait 2 minutes in-game without the invisible timer stopping. Any fight spawn, any text box will cause that timer to stop. So we're just going to wait here at the pharmacy until we hear from Tamio. Going into the first-person camera stops idle text boxes from appearing. When Kiryu is just standing around doing nothing, the game will kick out a few text boxes about the next story beat, just as a kind of reminder in case you forgot what it was that you were supposed to be doing. Those text boxes would stop this timer, which we don't want to do. We want this to go through as quickly as possible. So after a minute, we get one phone call. This is a phone call from Date back in Kamurocho. Don't need to worry about that. We just have to wait for the phone call from Tamio. So this is a great spot for messages, for donations, for anything, because we've got a good 2 minutes here where we're not doing a little bit of explanation, probably a good minute to 90 seconds for the host to just whatever they have to say at the time. Ooh, is that Bakamatai in the background? Alright, so we've got about 20 to 30 seconds before we get the phone call from Tamio. When she does, that's the trigger that's going to add the bandages to the inventory of the pharmacy. It would be great if they were there first. We could just buy them and wait for her back over at the bar, but no, unfortunately, they are not available to buy until she calls us. Should be any moment now. There we are. Talk to the pharmacist, buy the bandage, and head back out. We're going to taxi back over to the bar. There's a nice little drop-off point that puts us right outside the bar. Keeping an eye out for fight spawns. We have a couple ways to despawn them. Hopefully we won't have to use them too much, but I'm sure at some point going to any vending machine will despawn a fight. You can talk to an NPC if one's with you, and that will break the aggro for a moment, which might let you just get around. The emergency failsafe is saving and reloading, but hopefully we don't have to do that because that's slow. So Tamio's taking care of Kaoru. Kaoru asks us to go talk to one of her informants to try and get some more information on the bullet that was shot at her. See if we can figure out who tried to shoot her. So the informant is at the Mahjong parlor. So we're going to try to get in the Mahjong parlor to go talk to him. Unfortunately, we're told there's a tournament going on right now, so we aren't allowed in without essentially a pass for our registration. There's a guy in that cutscene who tells us about a guy by the name of Junka, who should be taking part in the tournament, but for some reason is drunk and using the UFO catcher at Club Sega. So we're going to see if he'll give us his pass to get into the tournament. We tell him we'll go ahead and do the UFO catcher for him. He's trying to catch this red cat. We're not going to catch it for him. We just back right out. Going to cutscene skip him away. He tells us that he's not playing in the Mahjong tournament because he owes the Yakuza 5 million yen, and they've threatened him. You see, we just go into that vending machine right there, despawn that fight spawn in front of us. The Yakuza has threatened him if he plays by by kidnapping his kid. So we're going to go meet them for him, and we're going to pay them the 5 million yen. Because that skips a fight, and that's the fastest way through. Sometimes crime pays. Now, obviously, we've got plenty of money coming from the completed file, so we don't have to worry about that. The Yakuza tells us that this guy in red has Jonka's kid. So we go get the kid, and now we're going to head back to Jonka. Only we find out that Yukiko, who is kidnapped, is not a kid, but is Jonka's cat. And that's why Jonka was playing the UFO catcher, because the red cat reminded him of his cat that was kidnapped. So we've rescued the cat, we talked to Jonka, he gives us his pass into the Mahjong tournament, so now we can head back to the Mahjong parlor and finally find this informant. No fight spawns again is good. So we're going to taxi back to the Mahjong parlor. Got to talk to the guy. He'll finally let us in. Right next to that taxi point is actually a sub-story trigger that we're going to hopefully never hit, but we get close to that a few times. Hopefully we never hit that and have to worry about it. So we're going to walk in here, immediately cutscene skip away this. This is the informant, the bald guy back here by the name of Isaki. We tell him we'll pay whatever he wants to know. Eventually it's 100 grand. He tells us the bullet is a hallmark of one of the Omi Alliance officers. That they were the ones who shot Kaoru. We give him another 300 grand for more info. Unfortunately, he gets a phone call that says, there's a multi-million yen bounty out for our head. So everyone in the Mahjong parlor decided, you know what? Instead of just getting the money from us, they're going to take us out so they get the bounty. As you can see, doesn't go too well for them. So we need to now go back and tell Kaoru what we found out. The game does not allow us to taxi right now. Like, if we tried to go to one of the taxi points, they wouldn't be there. So we've just got to run back to the bar. Now, the fastest way back to the bar is in the other direction, but if we went that way, we would get told there was some kind of obstruction in the road and we couldn't get around. This is RGG very much railroading you into something they want you to do, which in this case is the Cabaret Club's side game. So, we did a Cabaret in the first game. Now, Cabaret in New Game Plus, or Cabaret in general. Each round is a 3-minute section. It's 3 minutes where any action you take over the course of this minigame stops the timer. We obviously don't want that timer to stop. We want it to keep going. So we do nothing for 3 minutes. Another nice little break for maybe some questions from the host, maybe some messages, some donations. It's a little bit of explanation, but can probably count on a good 2 minutes for the host right here for whatever it is that they need. So, this is one of the downsides. I mean, this part is in any percent as well. The any percent run does not need to sit and wait for the phone calls as they're out. At that point, you have to go out and collect a bunch of things that, we already have from the previous file. Now, Cabaret here is actually being redone after it was in Cabaret was in a Majima minigame in Yakuza 0. Slightly more refined here. Each of the platinum hostesses that you get have a sub-story tied to them, but you have to go through a few conversations first. In Yakuza 0, you could only do one of those conversations per round of Cabaret. Here, you can do one per hostess, which speeds it up dramatically. Because you have 6 hostesses that you have to fully max out to get sub-stories for the all sub-story run. So we've got about another minute here. Again, at this point, all we know that's going on is Chairman Goto's been kidnapped. Daigo Dojima's been kidnapped. Ryuji Goto wants to kill us. There's been an explosion in Kamurocho. Hopefully everybody's okay. We don't know. And the only person who is supposedly trying to keep us alive at the moment just got shot by a sniper. So we've had a great couple of days in Osaka, haven't we? So we're almost to the end of this minigame. We have to wait a few seconds after the timer hits 0, because until the result screen pops up, you can still accidentally interact with one of these tables, which will prevent the result screen from popping up. So we've got just a few more seconds here. Everyone is obviously very upset. This is actually a very fun minigame to do the first time through. Unfortunately, it's just very slow. It's also the heavy moneymaker in this game. Alright, so we're through the end of the minigame. We just have to cutscene skip away. We run back out of the Cabaret Club. Unfortunately, this is right next to the bar, so we'd have to run back into the bar, and we've reached the end of Chapter 4. Now, we tell Kaoru what we found, and decide that we need to go back to Kamurocho and find out what happened after the explosion. So she's going to come with us, obviously, because, we're still in her custody. Now, again, she was just shot, so she's not exactly in great condition. So we're going to leave her to rest while we go tell update the Tojo clan on what happened. This is Serena. Serena is a key point in the plot, or key space in the plot of Yakuza 1. The bartender and the owner, Rena, is no longer around for plot reasons. If you want, but the bar's been closed, nobody knows we're there, so we're just going to use the back door the entire time so that we don't alert anyone that someone's at the bar. After we talk to the Tojo clan and just kind of give an update, Lady Dojima tells us she's got something for us. She's got this key that she doesn't really know what it's for. She just knows that it came from Terada before he passed. So we're going to just run around to the back here. This guy is going to tell us about this bull statue that Terada had installed. We don't really care that much, other than it has a keyhole on it. So we use that key, and it opens the storeroom, where, amongst other things, we find this dagger. If you know anything about the series, you know who that dagger belongs to. He's no longer a member of the Tojo clan for reasons that you can find out in the DLC, just titled Majima Saga. But we need to go back to Kamurocho and grab him for some help. Before that, we get attacked by this mysterious assassin. We never find anything more out about this guy. It's just a completely dropped subplot. So we take him out, we head back to Kamurocho, and we've got to go find Majima. As soon as we get back, though, we get a phone call from Kaoru, asking us to go pick her up some underwear. Underwear and beer, actually, but we have the beer from the first playthrough. That is a very unfortunate fight spawn, so we're going to go ahead and just load that away. This, excuse me, the boards are timed in loadless time, so that doesn't affect what our runtime will be, but obviously it affects real time. So we're going to head over to Don Quixote to buy the underwear for Kaoru, and we're just going to head back over to Serena. We're going to taxi up to the other end of Tenkaichi Street, because that's just closer. It's a little unfortunate. There wasn't a vending machine around to get rid of that fight spawn, so we just had to save load it away. Very unfortunate, but it just happens sometimes. So we're going to run up the back of Serena. We're going to run up the stairs and meet Kiryu's mortal enemy's stairs and sharp turns. So Kaoru does her business, and then she insists on coming with us to protect us, to supposedly protect us while we go find Majima. We're going to get stopped here by a pupil of our old martial arts instructor, Komaki. We just cutscene skip him away. Sorry, buddy, we're not interested. Excuse me. This is, in the first playthrough, this is your tutorial about extreme heat. Komaki introduces you to that. We already have that, so we don't have to worry about doing that tutorial. We've got several cutscenes, conversations and cutscenes to skip here. Before we reach... This is now Kamurocho Hills. In Yakuza 1, this is West Park, which was a giant, homeless encampment. But now it's being, there's some housing units that are being built on top of it. And underneath Kamurocho Hills is Purgatory. Majima, for some reason, is here in Purgatory just kind of keeping an eye on things. So, he is not going to listen to us when we ask for help, however, until we agree to participate in the Coliseum tournaments. So we're going to use a muscle soda to give us a little extra attack power. This is De Silva. This is fight 1. We pull out our sword, we stab, he goes away. This is going to be a theme. Pull out our sword, stab, things die. Welcome to fight 2. Gary Buster Holmes, fan favorite from Yakuza 1. Once again, we pull out our sword, we stab, he goes away. Very unfortunate. Fight 3, you might have guessed this was coming, is against Majima himself. Gotta do a little bit more work in this fight. We're gonna pull out our sword, take a couple of steps forward, and stab. See, otherwise, yeah, we miss, and things just, unfortunately, go very wrong. So because we missed the stab, we're just gonna do a quick heat action. He goes into his QTE. We're not really in danger of dying, but we don't want to fail this. So now, just like Ryuji, we've got to hit him once to trigger his field of heat. So we're going to grab our gun, just shoot him, and that's enough to trigger the field of heat. Little unfortunate we missed with the first stab, but is what it is. This is the same field of heat animation that Daigo had earlier. I mean, RTG likes to reuse these. They put a lot of time and effort into it, so I can understand why. But this is the exact same animation that Daigo had. So now Majima's willing to listen to us and willing to give us some help protecting Kamurocho, because we don't know what's coming from the Omi Alliance. But before we finish with Majima is going to be attacked. Because Majima, when he left the Tojo clan, created Majima Construction. And that's the group that's building Kamurocho Hills. But a rival construction company is trying to put him out of business so they can take the contract for themselves. So we've got to now help Majima protect his company. Welcome to Clan Creator, a tower defense minigame in the middle of the speedrun. This is unfortunately probably the worst part of the New Game Plus run. We just have to fight our way through this as quickly as possible. A lot of this is going to come down to positioning. Nishida is going to come right down here, going to sit there. Majima is going to come over here. The other two guys are going to come right behind Majima. And then the final guy with the gun is going to be our backup, and he's going to sit there at the back and just clean up anybody who gets by. So, we got 5 waves to get through. That was the end of wave 1. Key here is that we need Nishida to take care of all of these guys to the left on his own. Okay, they've all aggroed to him. Good. So he'll be able to take care of those. We've got this top section. We want to bring a couple of guys down here to the middle to deal with this wave here. We need Nishida over here as well. Okay, good. Nobody got by. A couple people got by. But Gun Guy... he's not going to get... it's a little unfortunate. Gun Guy will take care of these two. It's fine. It's annoying, but it's whatever. So we've lost our backup at the moment, which is concerning. We just have to get everybody over here as quickly as possible. Okay, good. It's kind of stopped everybody, so we can now bring everybody up here to be ready for the boss. We're going to use a skill to give everybody a little bit more attack and bring everybody up here to deal with the boss quickly. And that's the end of Clan Creator. That was a fairly okay Clan Creator. Very normal. Clan Creator has the potential to get awful. Fortunately, this wasn't that bad. And now this song from Majima, this is the Majima Construction Anthem. It has no right to be as good of a song as it is. None whatsoever. Alright, we're just mashing through the end of Majima Construction. Gonna get a few cutscenes kind of detailing the rest of the story behind this minigame. And then we're just gonna head back to Serena to talk to Kaoru and call it a day. When we get to Serena, to close out the chapter, we're gonna get a phone call telling us that Daigo Dojima is being held hostage in the Amano building. And if your first reaction, like ours, is, where the heck is the Amano building? Well, you'd be correct. We don't know where the Amano building is. So, we don't really know what's going on. But we've got to find out where the Amano... We've been told to come alone to the Amano building at 1 in the morning. Well, it's obviously before 1 a.m., but we need to find out where the heck it is first. So, we're going to go talk to an informant friend of ours. Sorry, Yuya, we don't have time today. We need to go taxi up to Theater Square. Please. And we're going to find Tamara. See, this is Marita. Tamara was earlier. We're finding Marita, and hopefully he can tell us where the Amano building is. That's an annoying little fight, but it'll get despawned as soon as we talk to Marita here. We need to text skip through his boxes as fast as possible. He tells us the Amano building is actually about a block north of us, so we just got to run up here. And we're taking a little bit of a weird route because there's a sub-story trigger there that takes about 45 seconds if we accidentally run into it. So the Amano building right now is under the control of the 16-bit gang. However, they have very unfortunately locked themselves out of the building. Excuse me. And these members do not have the key, unfortunately. Their boss has the key. So we take care of them. Their boss is in an alley near the Millennium Tower, so we're heading down there to go take care of the boss and get the key to the Amano building. The muscle soda we used was for that fight, but also will carry into the fight with the boss. So we gotta take care of these two and one other enemy that appears behind us. If we're slow, a second enemy will appear behind us, which obviously we don't want. Well, unfortunately, I think we're gonna yeah, there's the second one. Big guy just kept dodging for some reason. That's very annoying. So now we've got the key from the boss, and now we've got to get back to the Amano building for the set piece to end the chapter. Keeping an eye out for a fight spawn down at the end of the street. I see one down there. They're going away from me at the moment, so we can just run right past them directly to the taxi. If they're facing the other direction, we'd have to despawn them with a vending machine. Unfortunately, could just run around them. And again, we were told to come alone to the Amano building, so Kaoru leaves us for now and goes back to Serena to wait for us. Now, we're going to take out our sword, and we're going to be introduced to, well, once we dodge this box, the Man in Black. Man in Black has very specific fight patterns. Sword, stab, he goes away. Just like the Colosseum, who would have thought? You're going to see him again, so just keep that in mind. The next one, we've got a few enemies that we can just shoot and get out of the way. We're going to punch open the door because it's faster than waiting for Kiryu to open it. Now, at the end of this hallway is an enemy with a machine gun. He can kill us. So we go into extreme heat to make sure that he doesn't kill us. While we're in extreme heat, we cannot die. So once we're through that, we go out of extreme heat, we get our sword back out, because, you may have guessed it, the man in black is back. Very badass entrance. However, again, sword, stab, he goes away. He doesn't look too good right now. Don't worry, we'll see him again in a minute. So, headed back through, we got a little bit more of the set piece. Once again, slashing the door open, we're going to deal with the enemies on these stairs. Hopefully they don't dodge too much, because they can be jerks. And actually, some of them, their hitboxes can block our progress up the stairs, actually. So, last set of enemies here. Once again, slash open the door. And then we have the end of the set... Oh my god. We have the end of the set piece where the man in black shows back up, and we just have to dodge him. And once again, we're going to stab him quickly. Now, after we stab him, there's going to be a few seconds before he gets back up for a phase 2. Forgot. Nah, it's fine at this point. We forgot to use a muscle soda. We'll just use a white soda. If we're quick, we can stab him and skip the field of heat. We just got to run forward, stab. It's unfortunate. Because we forgot the muscle soda, we didn't have the attack damage to skip it. So we just have to sit through and watch this animation. It's about a 20-second skip. It's a little unfortunate. We could have saved it there by using the muscle soda. I thought we had enough damage without it, but it's just unfortunate. So, again, you can see how much slower it is to open the door than punching it open. And we've reached the end of Chapter 6. In this cutscene, we meet a friend of ours by the name of Kazuki, the owner of the club Stardust, a host club. And we find out he's been held hostage for at least 6 months, while a body double has been running his club by a Korean gang we don't know a whole lot about right now. But in the aftermath of that cutscene, Kazuki was shot. So we need to get him to a doctor to get taken care of. Just like Kaoru earlier, if we run into NPCs, it's going to cause more blood loss. Now, we can't get directly to the doctor. We've got to go through a back route through the Millennium Tower. Most of the Millennium Tower is blocked off. Somehow this basement part is not. So we can just run through here. And we're going to end up at Theater Square. In Theater Square are going to be several police officers that we have to dodge, just like the NPCs with Kaoru, because that's a conversation that's going to take time and we don't want to deal with. So we're looking out for purple dots on the minimap. I think there's one to our left. 2 to the right. Interesting, the one to our left didn't appear on the minimap. I don't know why that happened. But all 3 were very nice, so we didn't have to worry about them at all. And now we just have to run through this around this corner to Dakimoto's clinic. Moto's going to take care of Kazuki for us. But, I mean, the guy was just shot. He needs some surgery. So while he's undergoing surgery, Date here is going to... who's carrying another gunshot victim, by the way, a detective by the name of Kawara. We'll get to him in a moment. But Date's going to suggest we go somewhere quiet to talk things through and figure out what's going on. So we're going to go to a club, a bar by the Millennium Tower by the name of Bantam. Bantam is an Irish pub that was known as Bacchus in Yakuza 1 and was another major story plot, major part of the plot. Don't need to worry too much about it, just know that after the events of Yakuza 1, they renamed themselves to Bantam, and that's where we're going now. This is one of Kiryu's local places to go in Kamurocho. So, while we're here, we get a phone call from Kaoru. Again, we're supposed to be under her protective custody. We're not supposed to try and get away from her. She's supposed to be with us at all times in case the Omi try and pull anything in Kamurocho. So she's back at Emoto's clinic with Kawara. We're going to go get them. Now, Kawara was shot in the leg. And at this point has not yet... I mean, Emoto is still working on Kazuki. So, we're going to be attacked by a couple of large gentlemen, Kim and Choi. We don't know much about them, but you can see Kawara right there is just writhing in pain on the couch with his gunshot. So Kim and Choi try to grab Emoto away from Kazuki, except they call him Park. Turns out that Kazuki was being held hostage by this Korean gang, so they could use Club Stardust as their base of operations while they infiltrate Kamurocho. He's able to tell us that, or Kawara is going to be able to tell us that the gang's name is the Jingwan Mafia. We'll get more into them. They have something to do with the events at the very start of the run. But for right now, just know their name, and we're going to take Kaoru and meet up with Kawara and Date at Bantam. Kawara, somehow shot in the leg, still beats us to the bar. We don't really know how. But when we get here, Date tells us the bartender's been acting very suspicious. So we confront him, and we're just going to now fight some random people in Kamurocho. Don't ask questions, it just happens. So it turns out another of Yomi's officers by the name of Sengoku, we're going to meet up with him again later, has paid off several civilians in Kamurocho to take out Kiryu. Kiryu is much more understanding than the rest of us after that fight and just decides to let them go without issue. Thank you, game. Meanwhile, we're going to run back to Serena to end the chapter, but while we get here, or before we get here, we're going to run into a sub-story trigger that we just go ahead and trigger now because we're going to be running this way to Serena a lot, so if we don't hit it now, we're going to hit it at some point. This is Granny White. Granny White is being attacked by Chinese triads. We don't really know why, we just will help save Granny White from the triads. Sure, Granny, go have a great time. That is all we have to do for the sub-story, at least. So now we can just run up into Serena and call it a day. So, it turns out that while we've been dealing with Kazuki, we've learned that there's some security footage that looks like Date is the one who shot the imposter Kazuki. And now Date is wanted for attempted murder. So we've got to try and see if we can help Date out. We're going to go see an old friend of ours, the legendary informant known as the Florist. He used to be in charge of Purgatory underneath Kamurocho Hills. He's now at the Millennium Tower, which, you know, has been blocked off because of the explosion. We're going to get a quick text here from Granny White. We just got to get rid of it as quickly as possible. Kaoru is going to get us past the guard into the Millennium Tower. So we just cutscene skip him away. And then we're going to head up to floor 50 to go see the Florist. And see if he can help us get an idea of just if there's any way he can help us clear Date's name. Before he can, the power goes out. So we go downstairs to deal with why the power went out. And it turns out there's several members of the Omi Alliance that have infiltrated that have knocked out the power. Now, the worst part of this area is finding the enemies that spawn. Generally, they will spawn behind Kiryu. That is not guaranteed, however. That was actually kind of nice. The last couple spawned right next to me. They don't usually do that. That muscle soda makes sure they all die in one attack, and it also carries over to this fight with Hayashi. Hayashi is a former Omi Alliance officer from Yakuza 1, who is involved with trying to kidnap Haruka. Just know that when someone tries to kidnap Haruka in these games, usually doesn't end up well for him. So, he's been cast out of the Omi Alliance. He's basically working for Ryuji under the table now. So we just have to take care of him to get the power back on. Just like the rest of the bosses so far, we need to do one little attack to trigger his Feel the Heat, so we're going to pull out the gun, shoot him, and move on to the Feel the Heat. There's going to be some extra to this QT that we don't need to do because, I mean, he's already dead from our initial attack. But we could extend this cutscene if we needed to. So now that Hayashi's taken care of, we turn the power back on. And the florist tells us, okay, I can't help you with Date, but I can tell you where Daigo Dojima is being held hostage. Yeah, we kind of forgot he's still been kidnapped by the Goryu. So we need to go over to Shangri-La, a soap land, which is just a fancy name for a brothel. Another important plot point from Yakuza 1. Really, all you need to know about what happened in the first game is that at the end of everything with Shangri-La, Majima drove a truck through the entrance. So as you can see, it's kind of trashed at the moment. We just have to fight our way through here to get to Daigo. These are members of the Omi Alliance. Just need to get through here as quickly as possible. Oh, you jerk. Just gonna slash and destroy all the bears we can. We've got so much attack at the moment, we just one-shot everybody. I mean, we are on easy, so everybody's got very low HP as it is. We've got a couple of rooms here. There is a ranged knife-throwing enemy that we don't care about. Gotta deal. There's another one to our left, but again, we don't have to take care of them, fortunately. We've got one more enemy we've got to take care of. There were some hitbox shenanigans there. Through this room, and then after this room is another machine gun enemy, just like in the Amano building. However, if we're fast here, we're close enough that we can just shoot him before he starts shooting, and so we don't have to worry about him. Couple more rooms to clear out here quickly. Gonna get a little animation here. A bunch of enemies come filing into this room at once. We just have to take them all out. So we're just trying to take care of all these guys as quickly as possible. That one behind me was very annoying. Yeah, we would like to stop the gun guy from shooting us and slowing us down. Did not get to slash that door open, unfortunately. That couch guy is one of the last things I have to worry about. This fight is the last fight before the end of the chapter. Before we rescue Daigo. Just ignore the knife guys again. And cutscene's gonna take over. This is our final fight of the chapter. Daigo's lying hogtied on the bed behind us. We just gotta take out these guys before they get us. Just gonna shoot them all here. And that's the end of the chapter. We've rescued Daigo. We still don't have Chairman Goja, but we've rescued Daigo. So, now that we've rescued Daigo, the two of us, Date and Kashiwagi, the acting captain of the Tojo clan, are head back to Serena to talk over things, try and figure out what the hell's going on. Kashiwagi tells us about a raid on the Jingwon Mafia 18 years ago by the Tojo clan that wiped out the entirety of the Jingwon Mafia that was there at the time trying to take over Kamurocho. That is going to be very central to the rest of this game. However, right now, it turns out today is Chairman Terada's funeral, and that takes precedence over everything. So we're just going to head to the Tojo clan headquarters for the funeral. That is a very annoying single fight spawn that I did not even register as a fight spawn because it was just one enemy. I'm surprised it let me cutscene skip that away. I accidentally bought a drink there. Hopefully that doesn't affect the menuing later. We'll figure it out here in a minute because we're going to use a muscle soda here in a couple minutes. So we're just going to head on the side for the funeral. Nice little callback to the events of Yakuza 1 that also had a funeral. So Terada, before he was the Tojo Clan chairman, was a member of the Omi Alliance and is actually a high-ranking officer. So there are some members of the Omi Alliance that have come to pay their respects. So they say, spoiler, they're not here to pay their respects. They're just here to cause trouble. This is Hashimoto. Hashimoto was in the fight in the Grand earlier in the game. He's a jerk, but we just have to get through that fight as quickly as possible. And we find out that because while the distraction is going on here, the Goryeo clan is making a move on Kamurocho. Now, Majima is keeping an eye on the city for us, but we need to go back and figure out how he's doing. So as soon as we get here, we're going to taxi over to the Millennium Tower, because that's where somebody has seen Majima near there. Excuse me. Majima is going to be over here on Shichifuku Street. He's had a very bad day. He's been worked over by the Goryeo clan and tells us, no, this was the real distraction. There is a member of the Tojo clan that is a traitor and is working with the Omi Alliance to help the Omi Alliance take over Kamurocho and wipe out the Tojo clan. We find out that person is the second chairman of the Nishikiyama family. If you know the first game, that's going to sound very familiar. By the name of Shindo. So we've got to go take care of Shindo and the Nishikiyama family. This fight here, we have to wait until the text that appears on the screen goes off screen, otherwise we soft lock. If we take everybody out before that text disappears, this barrier we're about to come up to cannot be destroyed. The game just won't let you. So we're going to use a muscle soda to deal with these enemies here and stop being jerks. This muscle soda is going to carry through to the Shindo fight here in a moment. And that's the main reason why we use it there. So we're going to get back into the officer meeting room, and we find out that Shindo's taken... Shocker if you heard this one before. He's taken everybody hostage. That happens a lot in this game. Kind of weird. So, between our low health and the muscle soda, we're just going to take out our sword, stab Shindo, and he's dead. He just doesn't know it yet because of some HP gaining going on. So we skip that phase. We skip the second phase of the fight in the entrance. And now he runs out to the back courtyard for the final phase of the fight that we're going to chase after him. Now, we've skipped the first two phases, so why not skip the final phase as well? In the original game, there is an elaborate setup where Kiryu's almost dead, and there's a special heat action that you can use to prevent the fight from taking place here in the back of the courtyard. In this game, and shoot him from all the way back here. Why? Don't really know, but somehow the bullet travels much farther than its intended distance, and we skip the final bit of the fight with Shindo. We have to do this QTE here. There's going to be a couple of mashings that we have to do. We're at the point of the game that we might be in danger of dying if we miss any QTEs, so let's just not miss them. That was 1, this is 2. Mash through it, and we take care of Shindo. We'll never see him again. His traitorous actions, he's gotten what he deserves for it. But remember, he took everybody hostage, so we just gotta go see how everybody's doing. Unfortunately, we actually have to open the door this time. We're no longer in the fight, so we can't just punch it open. We have to sit through that slow animation. So we're running back up the stairs. We're headed to the Tojo Clan officer meeting room. We're in here. Wait, why am I getting a QTE? Wait a minute. I just slashed this guy in the chest. He's supposed to be dead. What the hell is he doing here? Well, fortunately, he's low enough HP that we can just stab him and go straight into the field of heat. This is very nice. It's a very short feel the heat animation. And that is the end of Chapter 9. Shindo is cast out of the Tojo clan as a result of his actions. Not dead, somehow. But we'll never hear from him again. Alright, Chapter 10. Kaoru is going to go off to follow up on some leads on some information she's found. So we're just going to have to wait for her to get done. And we just need to kill some time in Kamurocho. So the game is going to want us to go toward Theater Square. If we do that, we're going to hit a sub-story trigger that's going to pull us away, and it is quite a time waster. That gold character, that is a Nouveau Riche enemy. Very slow, we can just run right past him. So we're going to taxi up to Theater Square, but it's important we do not move once we get there, or we'll trigger that sub-story. So we just wait, and the story cutscene takes over first, and now we don't have to worry about the sub-story. We're introduced to Takashi. Takashi we met in Yakuza 1. Turns out he's the florist's son, though he doesn't know that. We saved him from a Yakuza family in Yakuza 1 along with his girlfriend, the daughter of the clan patriarch. So, we saved him. They went off to live happily ever after. That fight spawn is going the other way. That's fine. But now, a year later, Takashi is having some problems with his girlfriend, and he asked us to seek out... He asked if we know anything about a legendary informant in Kamurocho who might be able to tell him what's going on with his girlfriend. Yeah, you guessed it again. That legendary informant is his father, the florist. So we're going to go talk to the florist and see if he's willing to help his son. Very begrudgingly, the florist agrees. So we've got to now run back and bring Takashi over to the florist. No taxi to get back there, unfortunately. It would be very nice if there was. So we're going to run out the back entrance of the Millennium Tower here. Head back toward the Champion District. There's always a fight spawn that appears somewhere between here and the Champion District. We're going to actually use that fight spawn. Because they've seen us and they're aggroed onto us, no other fights will aggro onto us as long as they're chasing us. There could be some really nasty fight spawns blocking your path here in the Champion District. So that just prevents those fight spawns from having any chance of taking you out. So we come back here, we get Takashi. The game is kind enough to take us back to the Millennium Tower on its own. And the florist shows him, no, his girlfriend isn't being unfaithful. She's actually been meeting with her father, who's been giving them money to survive, because Takashi can't hold down a job. So Takashi feels like a jackass. He runs off to make up things with his girlfriend. And we got a phone call from Kaoru. She's got some stuff. We need to go back to Sotenbori to follow up on some more leads. So that fight spawn is fine. Because they didn't turn around, we can just run past them, and we can just run up here. The aggro gets a little wonky if they chase you into the alleyway behind Serena. Fortunately, they don't run up the stairs. So we're going to head back to Sotenbori. We get to the Sotenbori Police Department, and there's some information that's found that there's a little bit of a fight between Kiryu and Kaoru. So Kaoru runs off. Kiryu is going to try to find her to make sure she's okay. But we have no idea where she went. So we head on over to Aoi to talk to Tamio and see if Tamio has any ideas where Kaoru might have gone. We're just going to text skip straight through Tamio's text. And Tamio tells us Kaoru likes to go to a few bars around the city. Well, we only know of one bar in the city, because, I mean, we're still fairly new here. And it's the Shot Bar Stigil up on the north end of the map. So we're going to take a taxi up there, and we're going to go into Stigil. Now, when we get inside of here, we need to talk to the bartender. In front of the bartender is an NPC that if we talk to, triggers a 30 to 45 second conversation, a fight when we leave, and a cutscene after the fight. So we're avoiding that sub-story trigger like the plague. We talk to the bartender. He says Kaoru just left. That was some impressive camera work, game. Thank you. That Kaoru just left and went down toward the Sotenbori River to get some air. So we run down and follow her, and we just want to make sure she's okay after the events of the cutscene that we skip. So Kaoru is hanging out right down here. When we get to her, we're going to have a fight. Don't know why. There's just some people that they're trying to hit on Kaoru, and they're not happy that we showed up. When you're fighting on the bridge by the river, there's a special heat action you can do where you just pick enemies up and throw them into the river, and it's a one-shot kill. It's a very funny animation. Unfortunately, it's far too slow for us in the speedrun, so we just fight him and move on. So we're getting here. Kaoru hears some police sirens, runs off before the police get there, and we decide to call it a night and meet back up in the morning to follow up on some information she's found. Before we call it a night, Kiryu's going to run into someone by the name... That's a fight spawn we don't want to deal with. Kiryu's going to run into this man by the name of Kazabori. If that sounds a little familiar to you, it's because there's a character in Yakuza 1 by the name of Utabori. That is the tattoo artist that gave Kiryu the dragon tattoo on his back. Kazabori is Osaka's tattoo artist. And it's a title, not a name. This is Kazabori the Fifth. One of his apprentices has stolen his masterpiece tattoo design and is trying to use it to start up his own shop. Once again, meet Kiryu's mortal enemy, stares and sharp turns. So we've got to go take care of the apprentice and get the design back for Kazabori. It's a very quick little fight here. We can't even text skip away this that text box. Is very annoying. But a quick fight here. We've got some cutscenes to skip. While I do that, I'm going to turn off the fan because it's getting very warm in here. But that is the end of Chapter 10. It's actually a very cool little look into Kiryu's past. Watch that cutscene later on. It's very, very cool, actually. So, Kaoru's got some information for us. We've got to meet up with her. We've got a taxi over the bridge to meet her. She's going to tell us that she's heard of a place by the name of Kema, who might have a survivor of the Jingwan Mafia raid that's been hiding out for the last 18 years. But we have no idea how to get in there. We just know that it's a shogi parlor. So we're going to head on down to the south part of the map, to the shogi, the guys playing shogi, and see if one of them knows anything about Kema. We're going to talk to the one sitting here on the ground. He says, sure, I'll tell you. Just give me 30 grand. So we pay him 30 grand, and he tells us... He tells us that there's a bar near the mahjong parlor that has the key to finding Kema. So we're going to run past the mahjong parlor, down this little alleyway, and a very specific set of actions. Door... wall, call the phone number from the wall. We have a passcode to do 110, 100, 109. The bar is now unlocked, so we go inside, and we're going to have to run up to a safe and input the combination of the safe. Safe combination is 5824. The contents of the safe is the shareholder ticket. We get a phone call telling us to go to Komayan, a traditional Japanese restaurant, and just order a meal. We give the ticket to the waitress at Komayan. She takes care of everything. That fight spawn is fine. If they were looking at us, it would have been an issue, but we can just go into Komayan, talk to her. Our meal comes with a shogi piece inside of it that we bite into. That turns out to be the key to getting to Kema, but the shogi player from earlier decides he wants it, so he's going to fight us to take it. He has a very bad day. We're going to get another phone call here telling us to find Santa Claus, give him the shogi piece, and he'll take us over to Kema. I don't know about you. I don't know what the hell we're looking for with Santa Claus. Anybody have any ideas? I got nothing. Oh, okay, wait. I get it now. Red suit, Santa Claus. Got it. So we meet with the Jingwan Mafia raid survivor here. And then we're ambushed by other members of the Jingwan Mafia who have been looking for him to kill him because he hasn't been participating in their plan for revenge. So we're just going to take care of them. Very quick fight here. You didn't die. That's annoying. Turns out, in the middle of the fight, they were able to take out the survivor anyways. But before he passes, he's able to tell us that Kaoru is likely the daughter of the head of the Jingwan Mafia group that was taken out by the Tojo clan. Kiryu then reveals that he was at that raid as a child and tells his side of the story. We've heard this story probably about 4 different ways from 6 different people at this point. It keeps changing. But Kaoru's upset that Kiryu didn't tell her sooner. This is why she's been trying to get closer to the Tojo clan, because she's heard these rumors. She runs off. We see Kiryu staring at the Sotenbori River for a while. And then all of a sudden, Kiryu's been stabbed. You can see he's got a very bloody suit at the moment. Now we're going into first person for a little better control here, because to simulate you losing blood after being stabbed, the game makes you drunk, which makes it very difficult to walk forward. It's slightly easier to walk forward in first person, so we're just doing that. The fight spawn indicators are just like the NPCs we were dodging earlier. However, this time, instead of conversations, you actually get into a fight while you're bleeding out and losing health. So we need to get over to the bar to have Tamio take care of us now while dodging NPCs and these fight spawns. This in particular, we have to swing wide to avoid the one on our right, and then cut back to avoid the one on our left. At this point, we don't have to worry so much about the last one, because as soon as we get close to the bar, the game takes over. And we can just cutscene skip our way through. Now, Tamio finds a note that was left on us after we were stabbed, telling us that, hey, Haruka's been kidnapped. We get a phone call from a guy who tells us to meet him at the golf center alone. Before we do, we're going to run into another sub-story trigger that we're just going to hit because we're going to be hitting this taxi a lot. The game reset our health after being stabbed, so we're going to use the magic katana to bring it back down. We're going to use the magic katana for a while. We've gotten through this sub-story. This is the Obitarian story. Another character who makes recurring appearances in this series. So now we're heading to the golf center. Spoiler alert, it's an ambush, and Haruka's not here. We're keeping an eye out to make sure there's no... There likes to be a very evil fight... not him. There likes to be a very large evil fight spawn just walking out of the golf center as we get there. So we're going to take this guy out. Turns out he was just a hired goon to get us here and take us out. We get another phone call from Kurakawa. We're running, actually, briefly, we're running kind of a weird way to get out because there's a huge sub-story trigger that we're trying to avoid there. Kurakawa calls us, tells us he's got some information for us on Haruka's kidnapping. Which is kind of weird because we didn't talk to him or tell him anything about a kidnapping. How would he know that she was kidnapped? You might guess this is another ambush, Kurakawa is going to take us out for the bounty on our heads. Again, we could throw everybody in the river, unfortunately very slow, so we're just going to take everybody out. You know, we need to get our HP back down to get our damage buff back, so we're just going to use the katana for a while. Kurakawa says he was hired to take us out by Asaki, the jerk from earlier. This is... Okay, I don't know how that let me... I didn't think I was going to be able to hit that vending machine. I got very lucky there. I'll take it. So, we're going to go find Asaki. He's hiding at an acupuncture clinic behind the bar. Asaki was hired by somebody to kidnap Haruka and again take us out. But instead of telling us, he runs off because he's going to be killed if he talks. So we chase him down. We have to fight him here. Just get rid of him. And he tells us that it was Sengoku of the Omi Alliance that put out the bounty on us and kidnapped Haruka. There's that name again. He also tells us that Haruka is being held by Sengoku at Osaka Castle. And of course, a guy by the name of Sengoku has a castle. Why wouldn't he? Japanese history right there. So we've got to fight our way through Osaka Castle to rescue Haruka. This is Kuneta, one of Sengoku's right-hand men. We've got to take him out first before any of the other enemies, otherwise he'll summon more. Back up. We're going to run our way through the next section. We've got a floor trap, some spikes in the floor to dodge. Quick QTE. And then a group of ninjas comes to attack us. Yeah, all the enemies here are samurai or ninjas. So we just take care of them. We've got another spawn here very quickly. Before we reach what is honestly one of the more interesting parts of this set piece. We've got another little floor trap to dodge. Didn't quite dodge that. And another group of ninjas to take out. And now we've reached an ambush point where we're going to use what every good medieval castle has, a minigun, to take out all of these samurai snipers. Very, very hard to aim this, unfortunately. Again, take Kuneta out first so he doesn't summon any more enemies after we take these guys out. We're trying to control this and aim as best as possible. So we've gotten rid of all the snipers. And now we just have to chase after Kuneta. This is going to lead us to the final fight involving Kuneta. Where again, one more time, we've got to take him out first before we take out anybody else. Or I should say before we take out everybody else. Because that's when he'll spawn more enemies. We're going to use a muscle soda here before we go upstairs, because we're going to reach the final fight of this chapter. Haruka's in the background, being held by Sengoku, and this is the tiger fight. We've got to deal with these two tigers that Sengoku has led out to attack us. Gonna grab our sword and very quickly stab. We're trying to beat the tiger. But that stab with the muscle soda is enough to trigger the quick time event here. That will take out the first tiger for us. We just have to mash our way through this. This doesn't kill us, but if we don't do the QTE, it won't take tiger out for us at the end here. So this is one tiger down. When in doubt, just, kick it. Sure. Second tiger is going to be to our left, so we're just going to head over, stab it. That triggers the Feel the Heat. This is going to trigger the end of the fight. And also, we're just going to punch the tiger in the face, and that's the end. Sure. I said earlier that people who try to kidnap Haruka, things don't usually end up well for him. Ryuji's had enough of Sengoku in general, and the fact that he kidnapped a kid is the last straw. So Ryuji spears Sengoku through the stomach with a sword and kicks him out the top floor of the castle. Man's gone. Unfortunate. We'll never see him again. So now we can spend some time in Sotenbori with Haruka. There's this entire mini quest where Haruka has a bunch of things that she asks you to do, and it's all about building her trust in you. We're not doing any of that. We're just going to run down here. That's a very odd car. That car wasn't there earlier. This car takes us to the next story trigger, which is going to be a talent agent notices Haruka on the street and decides that he needs to hire her as his next act to be a model. Keep in mind, Haruka's 10 years old right now, and he wants to hire her to be Japan's next idol, not model. We tell him no, he gives us a call and says, okay, give me a chance to change your mind. So we say fine, because he's not going to stop until we talk to him. So we head back over to his office. We're going to get a cutscene here for a rival talent agent. Keep him in mind, he'll be important in a moment. Head inside to talk to the talent agent. We just got to tell him it might be in Haruka's best interest, and all of a sudden we hear Haruka scream from outside. That rival talent agent has also decided, hey, this girl would be a great idol, so we're just going to take her by force and have her join our agency. Once again, doesn't work out well for anybody who tries to kidnap Haruka. So we take care of them. Our HP is back to where we want it to be at this point, so we can stop using the magic katana for a while. Haruka is very upset that we would even consider leaving her in Sotenbori with the talent agent, because she wants to stay with us. But the talent agent isn't giving up, so we decide that we're going to go find another act for the talent agent so he'll leave us alone. And we've heard about a singer that hangs around Stigil a lot, so we're going to head to the bar and see if we can find any information on this singer. When we get inside, turns out the singer is the waitress who gets into a fight with a drunk patron. And she runs out, and actually runs back to the Sotenbori River, right where Kaoru was earlier. Actually, I talked to Haruka there. You see, she asked her to buy her an energy drink. And all of her requests are, go to X place and buy me food. Go to Y location, buy me this item. Or go to an arcade and play this game. All these little things that just have you interact with parts of the game. So, we can sort of hear the singer, and that's actually a really good voice. But she's decided that she's decided to give up on singing, and she's just going to be a waitress. We decide we can't let her throw away her gift like that. So we're going to go back to the bar to talk to her, where we get ambushed by the talent scout. We introduce him to the singer. He signs her as his new act. He finally leaves us alone. We're going to despawn that fight spawn, because I don't like that. And Haruka and Kiryu decided they've had enough of Sotenbori, and they're going to head back to Kamurocho. Things in this game always go as planned, right? You've seen that so far? That's exactly how things go? So spoiler alert, things don't go to plan. Kiryu gets a phone call from a member of the Kamurocho Police Department by the name of Kurahashi. Except, as it turns out, he's not a member of the Kamurocho Police Department by the name of Kurahashi. He's actually a survivor of the Jingwon Mafia raid who's been hiding in plain sight, waiting for revenge all these years. So, he tells us that he's kidnapped Date and some others, and he wants us to come meet him at the Millennium Tower. Otherwise, he's going to kill everybody. He also wants us to bring Kaoru. So, Kaoru's still back in... Kaoru decides to go to Kamurocho before us. We get attacked while we're driving there. So Kaoru's driving Haruka right now. We're taking care of the Jingwan Mafia who've attacked us. We've just got several ways of enemies to take out. We've got to shoot from distance. One more wave here. And then we have the... Well, we're going to have an appearance by an old friend. But first we get... This is like a callback to me to, like, Perfect Dark or, GoldenEye. We're using a rocket launcher to, as a close-range melee weapon. We get blown up onto the top of this truck where, guess what? The man in black is waiting for us. Like normal, we just stab him and move on. He tries to throw us off the truck. We end up pushing him off the truck, and, oh, he gets run over by the truck. That doesn't look very good. I'm sure we're not going to see him again. It's fine. So we make it back to Kamurocho with Kaoru. And now we've got to get to the Millennium Tower. Now, if we run up to the Millennium Tower right now, there's going to be a group of Jingwan Mafia members waiting there for us to attack it. Please let me get to this. Okay, barely got to that vending machine in time. And if we run around to try and dodge them, there's going to be a second set of Jingwan Mafia members waiting for us. So instead, we're going to taxi to right in front of the Millennium Tower. And that puts us right in between the two groups, so there's no fight. Sorry, guys. We got a date with your boss. So, we're going to head up to Kurahashi, I guess. And he gives us this grand speech about how it's finally time for his revenge and blah, 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 we don't care. So we're just going to fight our way through. Quick feel the heat. And this feel the heat is actually the same as the Man in Black earlier and as Ryuji. This animation. So we're going to skip a bunch of cutscenes here to end the chapter. Kurahashi is going to try and shoot Kaoru because she refuses to join and help get revenge. Kawara jumps in front of the bullet because it turns out he is Kaoru's father. He saved the wife of the head of the Jingwan Mafia during the raid and ended up having a child with her. And that was Kaoru. So, unfortunately, Kawara passes after that gunshot. Kurahashi drops a CD encrypted CD full of information about the plans of the Jingwan Mafia. So Kaoru is going to take that over to the police station and try and see what she can learn so that we can deal with the Jingwan Mafia. She heads off. We're going to meet her back at Serena before she heads off to deal with that. Well, once we get to Serena, Date, who by the way is still wanted for murder, he's going to call us and say that and tell us that Kazuki is finally out of surgery and has some things he needs to tell us about plans that he overheard while he was being held hostage. So, Kaoru's going to head out to the police station. We go up to Dakamoto and talk to Kazuki. Now, we're going to try to avoid this fight spawn. There can be a fight spawn here. It's very annoying. We're going to try to avoid it. Or just not have it spawn. Thank you. Alright, we're in the clear. Oh, it's coming from the other direction, so not a big deal. Kazuki tells us that the Jingwan Mafia's plan was to blow up the city of Kamurocho. And they've planted 31 bombs around the city. One for each member that was killed during the raid by the Tojo clan. The first one already went off. That was the original explosion. at the Millennium Tower. So there's 30 bombs just rigged, waiting to explode. At the same time, Ryuji Goda is leading an attack on Kamurocho by the Omi Alliance. So Date is going to take care of the bombs, along with the help from the police department. Kiryu goes back to the Tojo clan. Daigo decides to go with us and lead up the defense of the city. But when we get back, we get a phone call from Date that it's not good news. Again, he's still wanted for murder. And it turns out the police aren't really interested in listening to tips from somebody that's wanted for arrest. So the police department isn't going to help with the Jingwan threat at all. Excuse me. The florist, after the events with Kurahashi, went back to Purgatory. So we're heading down to meet him and Date. Majima shows up all of a sudden and tells everyone that he's been keeping the florist's old network, old command center up and running. So Daigo, Majima, and the florist decide to use everybody from the Tojo clan who is going to help fight off Ryuji to take care of the bombs, while Kiryu deals with Ryuji Goda. Now we get a couple of phone calls here. That one was from the Bantam bartender, that the Omi Alliance is there destroying his bar. We're going to get another phone call when we leave from Dakamoto, that there are people from the Omi Alliance also destroying his clinic. And then right before we exit the area, we're going to get a phone call from Yuya that the Omi Alliance is also attacking Stardust. Well, we know Yuya can handle himself in a fight, so we're going to leave him for last and deal with the bar, or deal with Bantam and Emoto's clinic. The way things work out, Moto's clinic is right next to Stardust, so we'll go to Bantam first and then run over to the clinic. So we head up here to Bantam. There might be a fight spawn up here. There wasn't, thankfully. We go inside and this fight triggers. This fight can be a jerk on higher levels. It just lulls you in and can kill you very quickly. But very good fight to get out of this. And now we have to run over to Emoto. Same path as earlier, just running through the city. We do need to watch out for fight spawns. Okay, that one's fine. And actually it's going to help us because it's not going to catch us. And no one else is going to aggro to us. Yeah, there's usually a second fight spawn running right over here. So, we get to Emoto's clinic. And just like at Bantam, we've got to deal with this group of Omi Alliance members that are attacking. Also can be jerks on higher difficulty levels, but fortunately on easy, a couple click slashes and we're through. Nah, he dodged, that was annoying. So now that the bar and the clinic are taken care of, now we're going to head on over to Stardust. Gonna hopefully avoid a fight spawn here. Annoying. Okay, it's just a single enemy moving away, so we're fine. Turns out Ryuji himself is here at Stardust. So, we just have to take out... We're going to help Yuya and take out everybody here. And this will be the end of Chapter 14. Take out the jerk with the big health bar before he can cause any problems. And again, the end of the chapter. Ryuji tells us he's going to give us 1 day before his actual assault on Kamurocho to wipe out the Tojo clan. So we better be ready by tomorrow. These set of cutscenes, this is one of the best cutscenes in, honestly, the entire series. You see Majima and his Captain Nishida defusing a bomb. And you can kind of guess how that goes. But, I mean, the city didn't explode. There's really nothing... We haven't heard about anything. So it seems like Majima and Daigo were able to take care of things. But we need to head up to Kamurocho Hills and just check in with Majima and make sure he's okay. So, one final time, except not really the final time, into Kamurocho Hills. We skip a couple cutscenes. And Date tells us, spend some time with Haruka in the city. And I'm running down a lead. When I've got this taken care of, I'll call you and tell you where to meet me. So he's going to tell us to meet him at Stardust. Not at Stardust, excuse me, Serena. But just like earlier with Tamio and getting the bandages, there's an invisible timer counting down for 3 minutes here that we have to sit and wait for the phone call. So sorry, Haruka, we don't have time to do anything. So this is the last bit before the finale. Again, great time for the host. Maybe a little bit of explanation of what's going to happen in the finale. But the host has multiple minutes here to do anything that they need to do. I'm going to take a couple minutes to rest my throat before we get to the end of this chapter and get something to drink. This is only in, like, real time, hour 45, hour 50 run. But, you still feel it. This is one of the shorter runs of the series. The longest runs are, Yakuza 5 is still about 6 hours real time. At this Infinite Wealth, the most recent main entry in the series, is now down to about 5.5 hours. Which is interesting because the last two main series have been JRPGs instead of brawler beat-em-ups. So for that to actually be shorter than one of the brawler beat-em-ups says a lot about that game. But this might be the shortest mainline run. Not 100% sure that, but it is definitely close with Yakuza 6. Yakuza 3 might also be right around that 2-hour mark, roughly. So, we've got about another minute to wait. Maybe about 30 seconds. Because that timer has been going... The only time that timer stopped was when we taxied. Again, we're in first person to prevent those extra text boxes from appearing to stop that timer. Excuse me. Great time for that phone call to pop up, let me tell you. Haruka is blocking me from getting in. That was real nice. We've got a couple cutscenes here. Kaoru tells us she wasn't able to find anything off the disc. But her captain from Osaka is in from Kamurocho, and he's got some information for us. So she wants us to go talk to him at the police department before we do anything. That sounds odd. It is. Because when we get to the police department, Kaoru's got a video set up waiting for us where she tells us, no, she was able to decrypt the CD. She knows everything. Turns out Ryuji Goda is her half-brother. And it falls to her to stop him and all the madness he's caused with the Jingwan Mafia. So, she's already gone to deal with them. We just talked to Date, and this is us getting into the finale. So the finale is going to be us running through the streets of Kamurocho to reach Kamurocho Hills. We're going to have 5 sets of fights to deal with here. This first set is going to be 5 in front of us, 5 behind us. Same thing as usual for this game, although except the straggler. The ones behind us, okay, they also straggled. Usually they'll run behind me and catch up to us as well. Kind of annoying that they didn't. Group 2. These guys run right up to group together, so it's a very quick phase. We're going to head north to deal with Group 3. We could have also gone to the right to deal with a different group. But this is Group 3. There's going to be some larger enemies at the back who don't make it up to us as fast as the others. So we just have to deal with the ones that get to us and then deal with the rest. Group 4, I'm going to take my gun out, actually, because there's going to be a bunch of guys with guns and knives that like to stay far away from me. So we're just going to shoot them all while they stay back there. That one of them kicked a motorcycle at us. Thankfully that didn't reach. Good lord. Last barrier, and you can see fight number 5 in front of us. However, if we go up here and go to Park Avenue, something weird happens. There's no fight 5 up here. There's no enemies. For some reason, did the developers forget? Was it intentional? No one knows. Just that there's no fight there, so we only have to do 4 fights through the city of Kamurocho. Handy little time save there. These two are just like Kim and Choi from Emoto's office earlier. However, they do not have a field of heat at the end because they're not considered a boss fight. But it is the same animation, fight and animation and everything. We're going to get... This is going to be the final time we're going to go through the toilets, the Kamurocho Hills. And we're going to be attacked by a bunch of Jingwan Mafia members. Again, they're going to be more spawning behind us after we take a few out. We want to take care of the guys with guns before they can do anything screwy, just in case they try to do anything screwy. We're going to deal with the rest left at this point. This second wave of enemies got to be a little careful because there is an enemy here that has a grenade that if we're not careful will explode and has potential to kill us. Just shoot everybody else here. And then we run up to the top of Kamurocho Hills for the final bits of the game. While we take the elevator up, one final time, it's the man in black. This time we have to stab him 3 times before his field of heat. And we finally are done with the man in black. This is the last time we'll see him. We won't see him again. So, we've reached the top of Kamurocho Hills. We're heading up to the final gauntlet of boss fights. There's 3 of them. Gonna use a muscle soda. The first fight is Ryuji 2. With the muscle soda, we've got plenty of attack to deal with him. Just step forward and stab. That'll trigger his quick time. These inputs are fortunately kind of just in a counterclockwise around the face buttons. Just like earlier, we've got to hit him once to put him into his field of heat. And that's the end of Ryuji Goda. For now. This is a long, quick field of heat. But it's kind of a unique field of heat, so it's interesting. 1 cutscene to skip, or 3 cutscenes to skip after this fight. Chairman Goda gets shot by one of his subordinates, who gets shot by a face we've seen before. Chairman Terada's not dead. He's back. Only he's not Chairman Terada. He's another survivor of the Jingwan Mafia raid, Daejin Kim. So, we've got to deal with Terada and his underlings. We fail this first QTE. We're going to do the second. We just got to hit him to go straight in the field of heat. Don't even have to hit him. That was nice. And his field of heat action here, it's the same as Daigo and Majima earlier, which is very interesting. And with this, the Jingwan Mafia threat has finally been eliminated. Only it turns out not, because Daejin Kim has one more bomb waiting, and Ryuji is going to fight us before we can deactivate that bomb. Because of course he is. That final bomb is revenge for Kurahashi, after Kurahashi was killed. So, our Muscle Soda is still active, we just need to stab Ryuji once. This quick time event is going to finish him off. Just a little bit of mashing. And then after this, we go into the final cut, the final QTE. If you miss this, it is death. Do not miss this QTE. And with that, we have time. GG, well done. Very good run. That is not a bad run at all. So that is Kiwami 2 on easy difficulty. We've also submitting this with the legend difficulty as alongside of it, could be used as an incentive on its own. This is a category upgrade. But I want to thank all of you for watching, for giving consideration to me being a part of your marathon. Hope to have the chance to run Yakuza 2, or Yakuza Kiwami 2, excuse me. And thank you very much for being here. Thank you all.